You know, quite often we have people here, and I'll say, in France, they would dedicate a park to them. The least we can do is strike a stamp in the honour. But we're saying, Montreal's own Lionel Blair joins us. But Lionel Blair joins us, show business incarnate. And forgive me, Lionel, but you're 90 next week.
Yes, on Wednesday.
And yet I looked at your, I think, one of your CVs from the 60s, and you shouldn't be 90 for another 15 years.
No, that's... Do you know, I was interviewed by Gary Bushell.
Yeah.
You know, who's
yeah.
pretty. And I said, I've got an apology to make to you, because he gave me a write-up a few years ago.
Yeah.
He said, what? I said, I lied about my age then.
What did you used to say then?
I was 10 years younger.
Well, you could do that. And equally, now you could.
No.
But now you could. That's
When people say now, it's just a number. Well, it really is.
Well, look at it. You as I say,
I don't feel.
But how are you supposed to feel?
I know.
You're supposed to feel.
I know.
I've got 10 names written down here, because there's no way, trying to encapsulate a career like yours.
Yes.
And I've got 10 names written down here, and numbered 1 to 10. And in a moment, I just want you to give me a number. I'll say the name, and you can say, "Oh yeah, well," because it is an extraordinary, a genuinely extraordinary career. I watch a channel called Talking Pictures Television, which is doing
I love.
which is brilliant. And anything, you seem to turn up in a lot of them, and I genuinely mean this. You were but not in a terrible way. You don't have to hide your eyes. No, because anything that's got any kind of snap or choreography to it, and there's certain moves I even recognise now, and I look at the roll at the end, choreography, Lionel Blair. I was watching The Jazz Boat, a film called The Jazz Boat.
I did that.
Yeah, Bernie Winters, Tony Newley and Bernie Winters were in there.
Well, Bernie Winters I went to school with Bernie.
Did you?
Yes, and he was my best man at my wedding.
I didn't know that.
You see, I've been married 51 years.
Well done, bravo.
Yeah, and Bernie was my best man.
Oh, mate! So that doing a film like that, I should imagine as well. They look
Jazz
like
Boat was fun. And my sister was, God bless her, was in it.
Yeah,
too.
It's a slight vehicle, but you seem like. But that's the thing. You can see Lionel at that period. You're thinking we've got to be done by 2 because I've got to be off to do something else, and then in the evening you're in the theatre.
Yes.
You used to work like that? Did you more than one job a day? I take it.
Oh, sometimes. With pantomime, I did. Funnily enough, and that was 3.
And when did you get your own troupe? When did you decide I'm going to have the Lionel Blair dancers?
Well, it was... went on holiday. I used to be a George Carden dancer. I don't know if you remember George.
I know the name.
He did all the Palladium.
Yeah.
And I went on holiday. There was a break. And I was in a show called Turn It Up with Jewel and Warris.
Oh, yeah, of course, Jewel and Warris. Yes, of course.
And I went on holiday with a friend and Shani Wallace.
Oh, yeah.
The 3 of us went to Knock
in
Belgium. And I get a phone call from Michael Mills, who was a director.
Yeah.
He directed Some Mothers Do Have 'Em. And he said, what are you doing? I said, well, I'm on holiday. He said, well, we're doing a new series called Return It Up. And George Carden doesn't want to do the choreography because he's going to Paris. And I said, all right, you can leave the series, but you must find me another choreographer. Now, I was only in my 19, 20. And he said, I think Lionel Blair could do it. And Michael said, I think he could too. And that's how it started.
Oh.
And it was the Lionel Blair dancers.
Yeah.
And Jimmy and Ben were so lovely to me. And they said, we want to do a number with you. And we did a number called I Wanna Be a Dancing Man. You see, and we did. And Michael said, well, instead of just the Lionel Blair, why doesn't it become Lionel Blair and his dancers?
Yeah.
And that's how that happened.
Because I had no idea you were in your teens, as you say, when that happened, because it looked like... who were your rivals, if you were? Who were the big dancers?
Oh, there was Paddy Stone, Irving Davis, Pam Davis. But they were about the 3 that were... And me.
Yeah. Because there's one move, and I won't do it in the studio. You do, but it's like it's going backwards.
Well,
doing
my
that,
dancers, my dancers were mostly beautiful girls.
Yeah,
always. And very few of them could tap dance, and they were very worried about, because they said, but we can't tap dance. I said, well, don't worry about that. I'll do that. I'll do it. You can dance around me.
Let me get to this list, because I've got 10 names here. Give me a number between 1 and 10, and I'll
okay.
Wait, any. What one?
What?
Give me a number between 1 and 10.
6.
Number 6. I've got written. Okay. Now I've got written down here. Someone you've already mentioned, Bernie Winters and Brucey and Dickie Henderson, and it was variety and summer season. This is.
Yes.
Did you always have a summer season during?
Always.
Did you? And tell us what
I did.
People what that
meant.
meant.
The first summer season I did was for Mike and Bernie at the Pavilion, Bournemouth, and I was only supposed to be a Lionel Blair and his dancers.
Yeah.
And the director, I can't remember, Morris somebody, said, "Oh, I can't be there. Will you look after?" And eventually I directed the summer season.
Good houses.
Packed, absolutely packed.
Yeah.
And Delphond, it was for Bernard Delphond, said, "Well, Lionel, will you just direct some summers?" So I did a few summer seasons for him. And I remember Yarmouth, Bournemouth.
Let me just throw some names at you. So just a summer season names that you work with them or not. Someone like obviously the Bruce Forsyth. You must have worked with Bruce on summer season. Someone like Charlie Drake. Did you ever work with Charlie Drake?
I never worked with him. I knew him.
Yeah.
Because I used to do a lot of Saturday Spectaculars. Do you remember?
Yeah, that's what this is about. Those variety shows that.
Well, the variety. Ted Ray.
Oh, mate. See, we've just dealing with someone who's never heard of Jerry and the Pacemakers. Now we're talking about Ted Ray and Jewel and Morris.
And Jewel and Morris.
Yeah, of course. See, that and Saturday night variety shows where you'd be on stage while you're on TV.
I did all of those.
Yeah.
See,
okay, give me.
The first one I did was for Dickie Henson. God bless him.
Man alive, yeah. Whose father?
He was a gentleman. His father was Dick Henson, yes.
Yeah, that's well. Give me another number between 1 and 10.
Okay, 3.
Number 3. Lionel Bart. Did you know Lionel Bart?
Very well.
Did you? Oh, see,
now you're on your dream.
I knew Lionel very well. I don't know how I met him. I can't remember. But my best friend, you see, was Alma Cogan.
No. Did you at her parties? I've always wanted to write.
I went to her, all of them. I went to every party.
Look, Alma Cogan. Paul McCartney says he knew they were going to be successful when he came to London. That was fine, he said. But when I got an invite to one of Alma Cogan's parties,
absolutely,
he said I had thought. And he said, I was overawed. I went along there, but her parties were notorious.
Absolutely unbelievable. I mean, Cary Grant, when she went out with Cary Grant, used to be there. And the Beatles were always there. And just Lionel Bart was
Did you
there.
see the original Oliver?
Yes, I went the first night.
Did you?
And sitting next to me was Rex Harrison.
Here we go.
Sitting next to me was, honestly, Rex Harrison. I knew Georgia. God bless her.
Georgia Brown. The greatest voice of my lifetime, Georgia Brown.
I know why she didn't do the film. Shaney was lovely, but it should have been
Georgia Brown. No, there's nothing. I went to see when it was revived in the Palladium, and Cameron McIntosh gave Lionel a bit of it back. And I went to the second night of Oliver when it was... and
who played...
It was Jonathan Pryce was playing Fagin.
Right.
And it was the big revival, very big ticket. Who do you think I sat next to? Lionel Bart. I sat down and we were talking, and Lionel Bart came and sat here. You can't applaud loud enough, can you? But you didn't need to. But that scene during that period.
But often, what would happen with me was I would get into a taxi and driving along, and you know how they move saw your last show, shame about your last show, what a flop that was. And I went, I beg your pardon. And he said, you know, that twang. I said, no, that's Lionel Bart. I'm Lionel Blair.
Give me another number, Lionel. We've used between 1 and 10.
5.
Number 5. Michael Winner. Now, you were...
I've done 2 films for him.
The Cool Mikado.
The Cool Mikado. I Play It Cool was first with Billy Fury.
Okay, wow.
And I did Play It Cool. And then they did The Cool Mikado. And I played a part. I played me. I think
It is a a unique film. It's
Especially one of the worst films ever made.
It's one of the worst films ever made.
I think. It's
up to a point. It's the point where it becomes fascinating. We were aware at the time it would become this.
But you know he was a pussycat, really.
Yeah.
But he would talk to you through a megaphone, even if he was standing next to you. No, and the megaphone would be in front. Honestly, like that. He drove people mad.
When he was a very powerful, he became a very powerful food critic, restaurant critic, of course. And I went to a restaurant with him, my friend Jeff Pope, at the restaurant. And we walk into a restaurant, he used to say in these high-end places, walk up to the maitre d', oh, hello, Mr. Winner, hello, Mr. Hello. He said, look, I want that table there.
Yeah.
Okay. And then he'd say, and I don't want anyone sitting there, and I don't want anyone sitting there. And he'd point to the two tables either side of it. And they'd say, very good,
and he
Mr.
was
Winner.
sweet. You know, I got on marvellous. Do you know the first Christmas card I used to get, my wife and I, always was Michael Winner.
Oh.
Always.
Well, I know.
All right, 8.
Number 8. The royal family. You've done so many royal variety performances.
I've done 8 royal commands.
I put one on Twitter last night. You and Sammy Davis having a tap dance off.
1961.
1961. That is
Jack
a routine.
Benny and George Burns were in it. And
How much?
Maurice Chevalier was in it.
Man alive.
And
Don't know we're born. Don't know we're born these days. They're run-ups. With all due respect to that is extraordinary. But if anyone's, it's on YouTube. It's a long routine. It's like 8 minutes.
I know.
You have to be a stuck-up London store man trying to. Yeah, you're wearing a bowler hat, and Sammy Davis walks into the sketch, and he's kind of loosened with it.
It's still on YouTube.
It's on YouTube, and it is extraordinary. Now it's an 8-minute sketch.
Yes.
How long did you get? Do you remember how long you got to rehearse that and put that together?
Well, funny thing was it for there? Yes, I had done Sammy's very first show in London was at the Pigalle.
Yeah.
For Al Burnett. Mm-hmm. And he was going to do the Sammy Davis Meets the British, and I did a routine for him. And we discussed it after his first night. Alma and I went to his first night, and he said, are you coming back to the house, which was his hotel room? And at the end of the meeting, he said, where are you going? I said, oh, I'm going home. He said, would you take me shopping? I said, are you serious? He said, yeah, I want to buy presents for Kirk and Tony and people like that. No, Kirk and Tony, who? You're not going to say that.
It's two barbers. He's got
and we went shopping together. And it was when Give Us a Clue was in the ratings, you see. And people kept asking me for my autograph.
Oh, no.
But not him. And he said, everybody knows you. If one more person asks you and not me, there's a problem. He says, you know, I'd love to do a routine with you. And we did, when Sammy Meets the British, I did a routine. He said, I want to do this routine with you. And that's how that's happened. And then when they wanted him to do a second Royal Command performance, he said, I don't want to do what I did before. I said, well, you want to do something like the hat shop routine or something? Yeah. He said, why don't we do that? I said, all right. And Bernie Dolphin said, yeah, that's fine. I said, when can we rehearse? He said, well, I'm in Vegas and I can't rehearse until 2 days before the... Bernie Delphont sent me to Vegas
there you go.
to rehearse with Sammy Davis Jr.
And yet when I put that to them at this show, they shrug. They don't have any budget at all.
And he said,
you mentioned the tap dancing. There's a little tap dance board right there. And now you're sitting down, of course. Oh, if you want, you can do it from your...
No, can you hear that?
We can totally. There's a microphone right there. Ladies and gentlemen, I mean... That's it. That's the one you did with Sammy Davis.
There you are.
I'm sorry to have blurted over that. I didn't realise.
Teary of eye.
That is extraordinary.
That's me.
It is you. Yes, it is. Man alive, that was because that's how that routine ends.
Boom.
That bang bang. Do you? I mean, obviously, you know.
He was lovely, but the reason we got on so well together was because he was never taught how to tap. You know, he just learnt. He said the one person that really helped me in my career, this is before he met Frank, He said, was Mickey Rooney.
Oh.
Mickey Rooney taught me how to play the drums,
Oh.
taught me how to tap dance. Yeah, and Mickey Rooney helped Sammy.
But Mickey Rooney's autobiography is one of the more salty I've ever read.
Oh,
He said, life's too short,
Well, he
life's
was
too
mad
short.
to-
Let me just, in case you miss out of these.
Yes, go on, number one.
Number one is Tony Newley. I've written down Anthony
Oh,
Newley, who is
Tony, I
my
knew.
personal hero, always
Tony.
has been. I knew Tony in the last few years of life, but you obviously...
Tony
knew him
was
very well.
one of the most wonderful guys.
One of the hugest
Brilliant.
talents.
And I tell you a wonderful story. Sammy was coming over to London to do the Prince of Wales.
Yeah.
And I always met Sammy off the plane.
Did you?
Oh, always. And I had a little Mini. And there was always a big Daimler or something to meet Sammy. So we were driving back to London from the airport. I met him at the airport. And he wound down his window and looked down at me and my little Mini. He said, I've got cufflinks bigger than that. Anyway, I said, I've got a show to take you to. And I took Sammy to see Stop the World.
And you took Sammy Davis to see Stop the World,
he
which
couldn't-
changed his career.
He could not have been more thrilled. And I took him backstage to meet Tony, who was a great friend. And he said to Tony, I'm opening. He said, may I do What Kind of Fool Am I in my act? And Tony said, of course you can. Sammy did a midnight matinee for all the pros.
Yeah.
Because everybody wanted to see Sammy. And I was in the wings and Sammy was on. And Tony had just finished the show, flew down to the Prince of Wales, and we were both in the corner, prompt corner, at the side of the stage, if anybody wants to know. When Sammy went into What Kind of Fool Am I? Tony said, get me a mic. And we got him a mic. And when Sammy went, what kind of fool am I? Whoever. And Tony started to harmonise with him. But Sammy didn't know where it was coming from. And they sang it together. And at the very end, Tony walked on. The audience went bananas, as you can imagine.
I can imagine.
That really
feeling the same
was
myself now.
absolutely wonderful.
See, again, Newley's career, I don't think is given any,
I
even
miss
now.
him very much.
Yeah,
He was lovely.
yeah.
Lovely guy.
He used to come into shows I used to do on Sunday because he believed nobody remembered his records, which is extraordinary. Now,
I took him shopping, and I said, and he wants this, and the man who was serving us said, who is that?
I know.
I said, it's Anthony Newley. Couldn't remember, didn't know.
Like yourself, the names that we're using this morning, yeah, of course, some people won't resonate with them, but when you sat with people like yourself and Tony Newley, and he told me once when he opened in Vegas, and I was talking about the mob, he went, oh, they were real. He said they were real in Vegas.
Oh, absolutely.
And he said they gave me great gifts after your first night. He said one night they brought on stage at the end a big chocolate brown Cadillac for me. He said it was custom-made chocolate. He said, but it wasn't my kind of car at all, but I had to go, oh, yeah, and I posted the photos.
Yeah.
I said, so what did you do with that car? And he said, that one I think I gave that to Kim Novak. Probably, absolutely. Did you do much in Vegas? Did you do much yourself in Vegas?
I didn't work in Vegas. No.
Would you like to have done? Would you?
It was funny. I went to see Siegfried and Roy.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of English dancers that were in the show. And I got a note from a waiter saying, the English kids say, hello, welcome to Vegas.
Oh, that's lovely.
Isn't that lovely?
It is, yeah, just
it was
a bit.
fabulous.
Yeah.
But I've got a story for you.
Go on.
When I took over from Terry Wogan on that show, that
the TV or the radio?
radio.
Yeah, the radio. Yeah.
No, TV. It was, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And I did it for a week with Gabby.
Yeah, of course.
And after the show one day, you, Chris and I were having a drink and said, let's say the most unbelievable...
Yeah, oh, yes.
Do you remember the
this,
story?
What we did, yeah, it was after Terry and Gabby's show. Yes, you set in for Terry, and we went to the next door, and we had some cold drinks and discussing what we...
And do you
how the show
remember
went.
what the story was?
And we said to each other, let's go for, let's play,
a game.
Anecdote poker. And so, we've all got some names in the back pocket. But you kept your powder quite dry under an industrial dryer in the Sahara and then said, you come up with yours.
I said, well, the only unbelievable story is when I was a boy dancer, which I did a movie called King's Rhapsody with Errol Flynn and an eagle. And we had to rehearse in Barcelona because the choreographer was American, and if he came to England, he could only stay for 10 days for filming. So we rehearsed there. And Errol Flynn's wife, Patrice, took a shine to me, and we became great friends. And Errol said, we're going to the bullfights on Sunday. I went, really? And Patrice and I went to the bullfights. He said, before we go to the bullfights, we're going to this hotel for drinks. And we went to this hotel for drinks, and he introduced me to Ernest Hemingway.
I did not see that coming.
Yeah, but the idea would all been saying, well...
And I won. I think I won.
Because, no, you won it. I was in Madrid with Errol Flynn. But once you introduced Hemingway to the story, I think there was a few quid on the table.
Yeah.
It all got put across.
Yes, they all gave me the money.
Put across.
Yeah.
Do you miss the... obviously, you're not as live and supple as you once were, not to suggest you're walking in here with a frame. But do you watch TV sometimes and think... I could make that production better, or the dancers. Do you miss the actual giving the advice or
they don't
seeing?
Have
no, they don't. True.
That
Strictly is about the only thing that shows dancing,
Strictly
isn't it?
is now the professional dancers in Strictly, I think, are wonderful.
Do you recognise
their
every step?
choreography is wonderful.
Is there anything new that you see though? Do you think no?
Well, ballroom dancing is very difficult. I know. I feel sorry for Ashley and because she is what I call a modern dancer. Ballroom dancing is on its own. I mean, I can do a bit, but not like they can.
Yeah.
They are the best.
Yeah,
Strictly is the best light end show for that.
But there's nothing new. I mean, what people think is new, you can look at and think, the so-and-so brothers did that.
I'm not mad about... Not like it was, not like Fred.
No. Oh, no, but we are going to the top.
You see, Fred Astaire was my idol,
yeah.
I have to say.
When you did A Hard Day's Night, and a few people can say that, when you did A Hard Day's Night,
yes.
Was that just another job? Did you think, well, these guys are going to come and go?
Well, I was doing Blackpool Night Out.
Which they did.
And they got the Beatles to do it.
Yeah.
And John said, we'll come up and do it if Lionel will do a routine to our new record. And it was to help. And I've invented a dance called the kick to help. And Brian Epstein thought it was wonderful. He said, I'm doing a tour next year, not with the Beatles, but I'd love you to be in it. I want to call it the Kick Tour. So I said, well, who's going to be in it? He said, the Everly Brothers, Cilla Black, and Billy J. Kramer. Now, and Lionel Blair and his dancers.
And you did the kick. I think I would recognise that.
Routine. In fact, Blackpool are opening a museum next year for all the celebrities that have played Blackpool. And they've got a big music cover of a sheet of music with me and teaching the Beatles the kick. And that's going to be the front of the museum. Isn't that wonderful?
But at the time, you must have thought, well, it's another good job. Someone who'd made The Jazz Boat already. It's just another one of those films. The idea that Hard Day's Night would now be, recognised as one of the
I suppose. When I say I like Paul's put me in his book, Paul McCartney.
Yeah. I saw we had Hemingway, but McCartney has to get in the queue here this morning. Yeah. And of course, Victor Spinetti, remember speaking to Victor, was what great company he was. And
Victor was fantastic.
When
I was doing Give Us a Clue, we'd have guests.
We were on the same team various times.
And Victor sat next to me, and I looked at him, and I was about to direct the pantomime at the Palladium, which was Dick Whittington with Jim Davidson.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked at Victor, I said, well, should I do pantomime this year? He said, why? You don't mind, love, why?
That's good.
And I said, I'd love you to play King Rat in. Yeah. And he played King Rat. Jim Davidson adored him.
But do you know what? The jumper that he wears in A Hard Day's Night, he wears a big mohair jumper while he's directing you. That is now in the Smithsonian.
Is it
yes,
really?
it is.
I bet she knitted him. That's the line, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. I bet she knitted him. Lionel, we're at a time over half an hour, and didn't touch on
Wow.
so many of these things, my friend. But and I mean this, you know this. How you're not Sir Lionel Blair for a start, and nobody can figure
haven't
out.
got one
But
of those.
honestly, but no, but even and the idea that you're 90 this week, which is fine. But as I said at the top of the show, in France they would dedicate a park to you, and that's absolutely true. We tend to see people like yourself as part of the furniture of good old Lionel Blair, which is fine. But nevertheless, what a career! What an incredible
Thank you,
incredible
God. I always say thank you,
let us say thank you, Lionel Blair. Thank you, my friend. We'll be
Thank
right
you,
back.
Danny.
Thank you.